All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another NBA playoff video. We got 3 games on today's April 23rd slate to dive into like we always do. I'm going to dive into each and every one of these games. I'm going to give you my prediction on the side. I'll give you my prediction on the total. We'll talk about any other plays like player props that we like within the games as well. But as always, guys, keep an eye down on the pinned comment of this video. That's going to take you to all of my final plays, so what I'm actually rolling with myself. If that does interest you, it's absolutely free down in the pinned comment. All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. I tell you guys I'm a dummy all the time. They don't suck. They've just been sucking. Get them down to -3 for more juice than Jose Canseco in his prime. Tell me you're new without telling me you're new. So don't go jumping down my throat in the comments, right? If you want to fade me, or if you do want to ride me, this still leaves a bad taste in my mouth, right? And remember, more chins, more wins. In terms of last night, we had a positive one. Technically, by the green and the reds, we go 3-1, but those 2 same-game parlays were each half of what the other plays were. So it was realistically a 2-1 night. Tyrese Halliburton goes off. Desmond Bane, man, we were 1 assist or 1 bucket, 1.1 anything away from catching, so we lose that on the hook. But ultimately, you know what, I think it still was a good look. And then the same game parlay in which we massaged some numbers. We had 2 of them in that Lakers and Timberwolves game. Both ended up coming through with a mix of players. Jaden McDaniels, Austin Reeves, Julius Randle, Ant, LeBron was in there. So yeah, we saw a few spots that we said, all right, if we just lower these numbers a little bit, we should be good to go, and we were. So let's pull some of the momentum and drag it into today. We got 3 games on the board, like I said. Guys, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. What do you say we dive into game number 1 here? We have Boston, my Boston Celtics, taking on the Orlando Magic. Big news here, Jason Tatum. We saw him get banged up in game number 1, in which the Celtics won that one, right? Final score being 103-86, I want to say. Let's see, 103-86, yes. Jason Tatum hurts his wrist. Now Jason Tatum is doubtful for this one. He's not listed in the expected starting lineup. Looks like Al Horford's going to move in to replace him there at the 4. That's a big deal. I think people are still saying in Boston, you know, oh my God, we're good. We have White, we have Brown, Porzingis. And I do still think the Celtics can win this game. But to win it by double digits, I think it's going to be a little tough. And if I'm giving Orlando any credit, it's the fact that this team is gritty, they'll play physical, and they're coming off of a loss in which they hung around in that game and then just got kind of dusted by the end of it, right? So I expect Orlando to play this one pretty freaking tough. I'm going to still say that the Celtics win it, but the only way that I'd probably get to the Celtics is by massaging that number down and throwing them in some sort of a parlay or something, maybe with one of the other favorites money line or something like that. Because again, I think this Orlando team could get gritty, and without Jason Tatum, like, who's going to be that ball dominant, make the big shot if the Celtics need it guy? Jaylen Brown is obviously a really good player. I wouldn't really put him in that position. Derek White looked really good in game number 1, but how do we know he's going to do it? Kristaps not a ball handler. It's going to be tough, right? So I think that, you know, being a Celtics fan, I see all of it. A lot of people are like, oh, we're still good. We're still the best team in the league. And there's a chance that the Celtics can still win playoff games without Jason Tatum. I'm not saying there's not. But to win them by double digits, I don't want to put my hard-earned bread on. I think that's the way that I would phrase it. So yeah, I still think the Celtics win it. But if I had to pick a side here, I guess Orlando plus 10.5. But ultimately, I think what I could end up doing and making this a final play would be to massage that 10.5 some way, somehow. Now that total is just super low, right? 197. That is so damn low, but it kind of makes sense, right? We've seen these teams stay under that line actually fairly recently, I guess. 3 of the last 4 games for the Celtics. The Magic have been a slow-ish scoring team all year long, but you know, to some degree, you got to say, okay, well, if we look at the bigger sample size, right? And I know playoff games will be played different and yada, 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 but this season, the Magic have gone over this line, even as a slow-paced team, in 79% of their games, 83% of the games when they've been on the road. The Celtics, on the other hand, have gone over at 92% of their games and went at home 93%. So at some point, we got to expect points to fall, right? So I do think that this is a spot in which I look at an over, kind of, sort of, solely based on the fact that that number is so low. Now, there's probably going to be some NBA nuts in there in the comments that tell me that I'm an idiot for doing this and all that, but to me, this number is just getting lower and lower. I've seen 96.5s out there. I think that there could be 200 points scored in this game, even with no Jason Tatum. Let's not forget that the way that that game started, you know, in the, you know, first game number 1, Orlando scored 31 second quarter points. They just absolutely stunk it up in the second half. The Celtics scored 103, right? If they get to, 100 here, and Orlando also gets to 100, that's all we're asking for. So Maybe I'm the dummy in the room. That is just an overcorrection of a line. This to me should be right around the 205.5 number. So there's a chance we play the over simply because of that. And just a little throw in here, Celtics this year averaged, it looks like they averaged, 117 without Tatum. So though he's a massive part, they're still going to be able to run, I would assume, the floor and whatnot without Jason Tatum. So yeah, again, going to lean towards the over in this one. In terms of player props, there's always one spot that I look. Now we're going to get inflated line because of how good he was in game one, and now Jason Tatum being out. But Derek White always seems to just come up big when whether it's Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum being out. He had 30 points in game one. This season, when he doesn't have Jason Tatum, he's averaging over 20 points per game. He's hit this in 6 of 8. He had a 41-point game in the mix, and the only 2 times he didn't hit it, 14 and 16. He was right there. So Derek White's definitely someone that I'm considering here today. And real quick, guys, just to show you how I'm finding those numbers like Derek White without Jason Tatum, I'm using Outlier, my favorite player prop research tool out on the market right now. Not just for NBA either, and NFL, NHL, MLB, it is absolutely goated. This is what it looks like. Derek White, right? I'm here on his 16.5, and this is just him overall this year. You can see we can even go down to the last 20, head-to-head, had 30 last time we played. We saw that, right? We can even see similar players via position and how they made out against this Orlando team. But what I wanted to look at was right here, this season, and we say, okay, well, games without Jason Tatum, how'd he do? And boom, those are the numbers that I just read off to you. We can also see that Orlando's decent top 10 against the shooting guard and all that, but head-to-head here, last time he played without Jason Tatum against the Magic, he did have over this number. So Outlier, super, super great tool. If you feel like that's even too much work and say you're working all day, you want to come home, just find plays that easily, head over to this Insights tab. You can go through and filter, and they have trending plays in the market with their odds right there, and it's kind of explaining what's going on. So very, very simple to find plays that are data-backed without you having to scrape up all the data. Go ahead and check out Outlier, guys. That link will be down below in the description, as well as the pinned comment. You get 7 days free. Yes, free. Go ahead and check it out. Again, that link will be down below in the description, as well as the pinned comment. Let's jump into these last 2 games here. Cleveland taking on Miami. So this is kind of what I was kind of hinting at when I said maybe the Celtics, we could massage the line or something like that. Based on what I saw in game 1 of this game, Cleveland's the far better team. And I don't think anyone came into this one being like, oh, maybe Miami really stands a chance to win this series. Maybe when they go to Miami, Miami can take one or something like that, but isn't that crazy to just think that even Miami winning one in Miami is like stealing a game from the number 1 seed Cavs? Now, do I think the Cavs are going to beat them by 20 again? I don't necessarily want to stake that claim, but Miami did shoot, nearly 50% from the field, over 40% from 3, as did Cleveland, but, it's not like Miami sucked or Cleveland went exceptionally well, you know what I mean? It's like that almost was somewhat of a normal game in a sense, and Cleveland just immediately from box to wire, I think they won every single quarter in that game, the first and the fourth being the biggest margins of victories of the quarter. So it was pretty crazy to see that, especially no Tatum. Now as a Celtics fan, I'm watching the Thunder look good, I'm watching Cleveland look good, and I'm just like, yikes. I'm going to lean towards Cleveland in this one. But again, maybe it's Boston and Cleveland, and we massage those numbers and put them in some sort of a slimy parlay there to get those numbers down. When it comes to a total, this is an interesting number because Miami's not going to play fast. I think that we know that. We did see them play fast against the Hawks, but Cleveland doesn't necessarily need to speed it up. Cleveland, I would put kind of maybe towards, I would say kind of a maybe in the middle of the pack in terms of pace when they're playing Cleveland basketball. They lean slightly towards being able to run and score a lot of points, but a lot of those points will come via the 3-point line, which is fine because Miami really hasn't been all that phenomenal at stopping the 3, whether it's on the season or recently, but also pick and roll. Cleveland should be really good to go. We saw, Darius Garland have a pretty good game, right? 27 and what do you have? 27 and 5 in that game number 1. Donovan Mitchell obviously looked really good. It's almost like Tyler Hero and I guess Bam did step up at game number 2, but I don't really see the continuous play from Miami. People say, yeah, they can pick this part away from Cleveland defensively. Oh, they could take this away. It's like, okay, if Cleveland's not working in the pick and roll, they'll transition into some sort of isolation. If they can't score from 3, they'll go and score inside. Just way too diverse of a team. So to me, it's Cleveland, again, massaging the line. But in terms of that total, I would say Cleveland team total over. Miami will probably try to slow them down, but because Miami's in this game, you're getting a decent number for Cleveland. Right now, over 109.5. I could see them doing that for sure. Now, it is the playoffs. Things slow down, but for what it's worth, their last 4 games here against this Miami team, they've had 113, 126, 112, and then the 121 we just saw. When they are on 2 days of rest this season, right, they've hit this in 10 of 11 games, averaging 125. So Cleveland team total over, I kind of like here, over 109.5. I just hope Miami doesn't go balls to the wall in trying to slow the game down. I think that they probably try and play good defense, but I don't think they have an answer for whether it's inside or outside of Cleveland scoring. I already mentioned him. I think Darius Garland's a good look. 3 straight games now, 28, 26, 27 points. I do like his points plus assists. I think he could have a decent amount of assists here in this spot as well. A lot of his assists are going to come at the paint, which could be a decent spot to target this one, especially if we see, Ware getting foul trouble, and then it's Bam Adebayo kind of holding down the fort there with both Mobley and Jared Allen. But ultimately, I already mentioned the 3-point shooting, right? Darius Garland could stumble into a couple extra assists solely because this isn't the best perimeter defense for Miami either. I know a lot of people are going to talk about their defense, the recent numbers, and if you also look at the bigger sample size, both don't really say that they're elite. They're well coached, they can slow it down, and they do have good defenders, but I'm not sold that they're good enough to stop a Cleveland team. So Garland over points and over points plus assists, 2 things that I'm considering here. All right, Houston taking on Golden State. This is a 10-point win on the road for Golden State in game 1, but a really low-scoring game, 95-85, right? We only really saw Alpi Sengun look good, and I think it was, like 7-man or maybe 8-man rotation from the Rockets, but we saw, realistically, Jalen Green have a really bad game. He was like 0 of whatever from 3 of 16, I think, from the floor. This Houston team didn't score well whatsoever. 21% from 3, 39% from the field, whereas Golden State, 47% and 38% from the field and from 3. But they can do that again, right? Those aren't crazy numbers. I do expect Golden State to play just as well as they did, both offensively and defensively. But I think Houston kind of contributes a little bit more in this one. And this series, I don't want to say it's much like the LA and Denver one that we're looking at, but I do think that these two teams can kind of even match each other in a sense. Now, head-to-head, it's looked pretty good this season, right? We look at this on the year. Golden State has won 3 out of the 5 meetings, but Houston's covered in a few of those. Houston obviously loses in game number 1, so I guess the last 6 meetings, Golden State's won 4 of them, but Houston should probably be able to bounce back here. They've just been playing such bad basketball, and I don't know if I want to put my money on them. You know what I mean? Like, they have lost. Let's not forget they lost to and these are in times where it didn't really matter, so I get it, but some of the guys weren't playing. I get it, but still, they don't have the momentum behind them like the Golden State Warriors did to kind of close out the year. They lost to the Clippers, LA, and Denver, all Western Conference opponents. Again, because they were already locked into the 2 seed, makes sense, but maybe it takes another game for them to kind of get their feet under them. I'm not sure. I think that we saw really, really good Golden State defense in game number 1. If you are on Houston, I don't want to talk you off of it, but I think I need to see them play better offense before leaning towards them. So I will lean Golden State, but this is a close one. Like, you can make an argument either way. Houston's going to play better, like I already said. They should be a better even, like, their defense was fine. 95 points to the Warriors, fine. They need to figure out their offense, and, if they do want to take it inside, which I think they can if Sengun plays well again, they should have some success with Sengun overall, honestly, because I do think that he's kind of in a good spot. But, like, they should be able to get points when they need to. They just need to hit their shots. They need more points from, Jalen Green. They obviously need more points from a lot of their guys. Like, we had all these guys that looked good during the season, and maybe they had to shake off some rust, because 8 from Thompson over 33 minutes. Fred VanVleet had 10 points over 40 minutes, and Jalen Green 7 points in 31 minutes. That ain't all that great. So I don't know if I actually bet Warriors tonight. I think Houston has a chance. I just want to make sure that their offense gets going before we even consider them moving forward in the series. In terms of the total, 2 slow-paced teams, but I think Houston's going to want to run. I think they're going to want to get out there and run. And also, I threw in the fact that they'll be able to score inside. I think they'll have some success at that today, but I think they're going to want to run with guys like Jalen Green and Amen Thompson. So, yeah, I'm going to lean towards an over 204. I guess we're liking a lot of points, and maybe we're not in playoff brain here, but I like both, all 3 of these games, a decent amount of points. Now, when it comes to player props, I already mentioned Sengun. I think he could have a good game, but his line is up to 20.5. The real spots that I would look at would be something like Amen Thompson. His line for his PRA is at 25.5. I don't mind that. I also don't mind his points line at 12.5. I think that he could be in for a good spot here against this Golden State team. He just didn't really show that in game number 1, right? So yeah, maybe his points plus rebounds could be a look, his points, but then Jalen Green, like the dude's gonna bounce back at some point, right? He really wasn't playing all that well to close out the year, but that's when it didn't matter, and he's playing like 10 minutes a game, right? So him to hit 2 threes right now, I think is like minus 170, so it's probably going to move to 2.5 for some plus money at one point, and that's what I would end up targeting. If you like that, I think that could be a good spot. Him head-to-head against this Warriors team, prior to that game, last time out, he had 3 and 2 threes hit. So, yeah, I think this could be a good spot for him. But I like guys getting out in transition today, and Amen Thompson's definitely going to be a guy that will do that for this Rockets team. So him is going to be he's probably going to be the number 1 player prop spot that I'm taking a peek at. But, guys, that is going to wrap it up for today's show. I know we got a couple comments yesterday being like, more so like rambling and talking. I'm just saying a million things. It's the first round of the NBA playoffs. I'm very excited. If you think that I'm talking too much and all that, I apologize, but also I'm not sorry, right? We're just doing us out here. I know I talk about that all the time on the channel, but I do know it. So if that helps you listening, you're like, at least he acknowledges it. I do, but I get excited talking about basketball, especially when we only have a couple games on the board. It's like, I really want to just hone in, and my mind's going in a million different directions. But you know what? Maybe that's what makes me, the dummy that you're watching today. Really do appreciate you guys. If you did enjoy, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.